comment s'axe Guildwars 2 par rapport à... C'est la suite de Guildwars 2, d'accord, mais comment ont-ils voulu axer le jeu dans l'aspect médiéval et avancer l'histoire pour proposer quelque chose de nouveau, mais dans une certaine continuité?
We have a progression between what we did in Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. The original Guild Wars had a much more medieval setting and primarily one race. You were a human character. In Guild Wars 2 we did the choice of 5 races, and some of those races are much more advanced technologically, like the Char, or magically, like the Asura. And what we have done is we have said that 250 years have passed between the time of Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. So we've had an advance of science and technology as well. We see a lot more gunpowder weapons. We see a lot more large effective siege machines and cannons.
Yeah.
We see a world that is growing up as we go along. This still has a lot of challenges. A lot of the storytelling that we have in Guild Wars 2 comes out of questions we started way back in Guild Wars 1. In the last of the Guild Wars games, Eye of the North, at the very end, we gave both the heads up that we had dragons coming. In the very final sequence, you know, they talk about that we had fought the Harbinger, the herald of an even greater evil, and we showed the dragon Primordus. We didn't say anything else, we just showed it as big thing, and there is more to come. At the very end, we said about how new races were going to arrive in Syria, and we showed a plant growing, and that was the hint that we were coming up with the Sylvari. So a lot of what you're seeing in Guild Wars 2 has evolved out of what we had in the original Guild Wars.
Comment se démarquer en voulant garder l'identité Guildwars avec l'évolution, et quand on a en face un jeu comme WoW, qu'on aime ou qu'on n'aime pas, moi je suis pas du tout client, mais comment arriver à se démarquer?
Okay, well, I'll actually, one of the things is we are looking at storytelling. We have a personal story system, so we are looking at choices and how you interact with the world, and we want our choices to make a difference. And I think that makes us a more mature world. If you have the choice between, you know, going to defend the hospital or going to defend the orphanage, you know, that is a decision that actually should have an effect on your personal story. And in your personal part of the world, what you choose to do will have ramifications and effects. So that's one level by which we're more mature. From an artistic side, we have a fantastic art team with us, and they have been very good at creating a very rich, textured world. I very much like our cinematics, for example, because we take that art that you have been seeing in our art books and our promotional materials, and we incorporate that fully into the game. It's not a case where, you know, we get a beautiful cinematic and the game doesn't line up. What we do is we integrate that art fully into the game itself, and as a result it feels like it's got a lot more connection and continuity. Want to throw anything else in?
Yeah, this goes into details about what the art would be as well. We're a very stylized game, but there's an underbelly of realism to it, so all of the textures are very realistic, especially if you take a look at characters. The leather coat that you will be seeing, it's a stylized coat, it's a magical fantasy design of a coat, but that leather should feel very real. And yes, we'll have armors that have, you know, more magic to it and less rhyme and reason, but we really like to imbue a realistic underbelly to a design to the outfit, to the armor, so that it feels that if you are the type of character that wants a very practical armor, you know, you want to feel protected, you want to feel stylish but layered, there will be choices. If you want no rules and it's all magic armor and it doesn't matter that you have skin showing but are in the middle of the winter, it doesn't matter. Okay, magic happens too. But we give you choices.
One of the challenges I have is we have great art, and how does it fit in? How does it coordinate with the rest of the world? One story I tell is Daniel Dosu did this beautiful painting of a glacier with an iceberg with a Tibetan temple on it. and sales. And he comes and says, can you use this? And we say, yeah, sure. Because it's such a great piece. And what we did is that helped us evolve the storytelling. We use the art, we coordinate with the art, and we get to make it feel like a coherent, solid approach, as opposed to we tell one story and the art doesn't reflect that. Our art reflects the story and our story reflects our art because we're working together.
At a much higher level, in terms of consistency, I think you can see it in terms of the personal stories that you have are they're big heroic stories, and that's true in Guildwars and it's true in Guildwars too. Also, the personality of the races, are consistent. The Asura are very magical, very intelligent. The humans are always in battle. The Char are marching their legions north, south, east, west.
Yes.
And so it's that sort of high-level consistency that lets the world feel like a consistent world, even though we're moving through its epics, I guess.
Ça va être surtout d'avoir eu un très bon accueil pour les sa sortie. Beaucoup de MMO sont sortis à la même période. Et seul Guildwars a vraiment réussi à sortir son épingle du jeu face à un géant. On va savoir un petit peu comment l'équipe a pu ressentir ça et surtout appréhender le développement du deuxième volet qui forcément va être très attendu par la communauté. Et parfois on sait que quand c'est trop attendu, les joueurs vont accepter plus ou moins bien les évolutions. Alors vous savez comment la pression a pu être gérée par l'équipe.
I think we have a high level of expectation, but it's not because of any existing game. We have a high level of expectation because we have a high level of expectation. What Guildwars, the original Guildwars, did not call itself an MMO. It did not feel like it functioned like a traditional shared world experience. When we started Guildwars 2, we started examining everything we knew, everything we've learned from the original Guildwars, and everything we knew about MMOs, because we were MMO players ourselves, and ultimately we wanted to design a game we want to play. So Mike O'Brien, who's our boss, basically says if you like MMOs, you'll like Guild Wars 2. If you don't like MMOs, you'll really like Guild Wars 2, because we really questioned a lot of those original assumptions. How do you craft? How do you adventure? How do you group up? Do we want to force people to group up? Do we want them to be able to socialize? Do we want them to be able to solo the game? People interact with MMOs in so many different ways. PvE versus PvE versus social interaction. How do we best serve as many people as possible as far as giving them what they want in an MMO? And you can see our combat. We've got a very visceral, active RPG style of combat, because we want to make it much more than just, you keep spamming the one key. We want to make it a much more engaging experience where you're watching the screen. I was just playing some PvP with the team on the front at the booth, and I was on my side of the team barking orders and telling the Guardian to lay down protections, all of this type of things, because I can see the battle unfolding before my eyes in the game. You gonna throw in, or okay?
Détails supplémentaires par l'évolution des personnages, au sein du jeu même, la progression qu'il va avoir le personnage qu'on va incarner.
I think you're asking about your actual character that you create, learning new skills and becoming better.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you make a brand new character, throughout the course of that character's life, you're going to get access to new weapons, which give you access to new skills. And then as you level your character up, you get more and more access to unlock more and more what we call utility skills that you can switch in and out of combat. So you're finding new weapons, you're unlocking new skills, and as your character levels up, you're also able to select different trait lines that further diversifies your character and adds more of a mechanical progression.
And from a story end, the idea of when you create a character in the game, initially you're asked a set of questions. You know, I was born on the streets, I was born to nobility, I was born in middle class gentry, and the choices that you make at that stage sets you on your initial personal story path. As you go along, you make additional choices that change that story path and have long-lasting effects on you and your world. So therefore your experience changes from person to person depending upon the choices you make.